Howdy folks, and welcome to the Hillbilly Kitchen. Today we're making a honey bun cake. Now this cake is fairly simple and you do start with a yellow cake mix, but it is perfect for maybe before church when you're having coffee and stuff. You know, take it to your Sunday school class, any kind of get together where you're going to have coffee, a breakfast, an easy breakfast, maybe when you got a big crowd of folks and you don't feel like doing the big bacon and sausage and eggs and all that stuff. This is a good one. Kids, sleepovers, whatever. It's even good for holiday breakfasts like Easter, which is coming up, and Thanksgiving and Christmas, you know, because it's one pan, you make it, put it in the oven, and everybody can come and enjoy it as they're ready to eat. And I've got one right here that I've already took out of the oven so we can finish it up and glaze it here in just a minute. But to start your cake, like I said, you just need a yellow cake mix. And the other ingredients for the cake are 1 cup of sour cream, 3/4 of a cup of vegetable oil, and 4 eggs. And that's all we're going to put in our cake. Now, for our filling, we have about 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar if you pack it. I'm going to be honest with you, anytime I do brown sugar and they say pack it and it's like 3/4 of a cup, I just do a loose cup because it's harder to mix it once you pack it. You want about 1/2 cup of chopped pecans. I've probably got 3/4 of a cup and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And then our glaze is a cup of powdered sugar, a tablespoon of milk, and we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract to it. And I should have put my wet ingredients in my bowl first. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just combine the wet ingredients with the eggs and then we'll add it to the cake mix. Whenever I'm doing a cake mix, I always start with my wet ingredients, mix those up, and then add the cake mix to it. But we'll do it this way. And this bowl's not big enough for my wet ingredients, really. When you're mixing wet ingredients for your cake, the thing you really want to get mixed together well is the egg and the oil. And we've talked about this before. You can see how the egg and the oil mix together, and that's because the egg is an emulsifier and it mixes the oil together. If you do not have eggs, you can substitute applesauce in this recipe. It would be very good, and so would mashed up banana as an egg substitute. I think it's like 1/4 of a cup of applesauce per egg, or about 1/2 of a banana. I am going to add my sour cream to this bowl. This wasn't the plan. Sometimes, though, we just got to go with the flow. All right, that's good enough. The sour cream will finish mixing in and I won't make a mess. Go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and we're going to bake this for about 30 minutes. So it doesn't take any longer to bake it than a regular cake mix would. And you can mix this with your electric mixer if you want to, but it's just not that hard to mix up. So I usually don't bother dragging mine out. All right, once you got your cake mix mixed up, then you're going to put your pecans in with your brown sugar and your cinnamon. And we're going to stir that up just a little bit. You don't have to be super, super picky about this, but you do want to make sure you kind of get your cinnamon evenly distributed in there. You don't want it all in one lump. And you can add more or less cinnamon. You could even leave the pecans out if you're not a nut fan. You could also do walnuts in this if you want to. But like the little sweet rolls, they usually have a few pecans on them. Of course, not this many, but a few. Now, we need a greased 9x13 pan. And what we're going to do is we're going to put about 1/2 of our batter in here. And then we're going to put our pecan and brown sugar and cinnamon on top of it. The one that I already baked, I did put in a disposable pan. The way prices are going, disposable pans are probably going to be far and few between just because they're getting so expensive. It's getting now where it is definitely worth your time to wash the pans rather than do the disposable ones. And you can get the carry pans that have a lid on them. Okay, once you've got 1/2 your batter in your pan, go ahead and put all of your filling in it. Just kind of spread it out evenly. Don't mix it, we're just spreading it. And then take your fingers and kind of push it all the way over to the edges. Now is the only hard part of this process. We have to try and get the rest of this cake mix on there and cover up that brown sugar and those pecans. What I try to do is sort of spread it around as I'm pouring it, which makes it easier to spread around, you know, without stirring it up, because you do want the pecans and brown sugar kind of in the center, not on just mixed in it. You could swirl it though, I guess. And I actually thought as I was mixing up that first one that this would be good with a lemon or orange cake mix, and then when we do the glaze, put a little lemon juice or orange juice in it, like the orange sweet rolls or the lemon sweet rolls. So anyway, once you get it on there, just kind of very gently spread it out. The one I've got in the aluminum pan, I did a far better job of dividing it. That's because y'all weren't watching. You know how you mess stuff up when people are watching? Now, we stick this in a 350-degree oven for about 30 minutes until it's thoroughly baked. And it will take about 30 minutes. Okay, and while it is still warm, we're gonna make a glaze to go on it. And like I said, for the glaze, we just have a cup of powdered sugar, about a tablespoon of milk, and any milk will work, and about a teaspoon of vanilla. And we want to poke some holes in our cake before we glaze it while it's warm, so that the glaze kind of runs down in it. And you can use a fork, you can use a butter knife, you can use a poker if you've got some sort of a, because they do make tools for this, but just basically like that. That's all there is to it. And the glaze is super simple. We've made it before. Just add your milk and your vanilla to your powdered sugar and mix it up. And if you wanted to do orange or lemon, you could use the orange or lemon extract and use lemon or orange juice instead of the milk. Maybe a little zest too if you were doing something citrus flavored. And you could, if you wanted to, add a little cinnamon in your glaze if you like a little more cinnamon. If you are buying disposable pans at Christmas time, I mentioned the ones that Hobby Lobby have, and they have them for every season, but I haven't been back by Hobby Lobby, and it's now almost Easter, so I didn't want to use a Christmas pan for my Easter cake. But they just have the cover over top of them so you can carry it, and it has, you know, it's seasonal. And they are really as cheap, because they always have the half price sales close to the holidays, as just buying one, a plain one. Once you get that mixed up, you just drizzle it across the top, and it will soak into your cake, and it will also leave a nice glaze on top of it. Spread it out just a little bit. Now don't worry about that being uneven a little bit, because it will kind of run and even itself out, and when it dries it's all going to be kind of the same color too. Now you can serve this warm. You will want to wait a few minutes after it comes out of the oven, but since this one's already been sitting for just a few minutes, it's still very warm. But we can get a scoop of it out here and see what it looks like. As long as you grease your pan, you see it comes out pretty good, even in these aluminum pans. And you can see you have that nice cinnamon and pecan and brown sugar layer in there. And this is a really kind of a special breakfast. It's far cheaper than buying the pre-made, pre-packaged cinnamon rolls or even donuts. It does have a few ingredients in it, but you know, it's still cheaper than those. I think I looked in the store yesterday, donuts are $1 a piece. A good size cinnamon bun, you're gonna pay $2 each for it. But if you go to a restaurant, like a coffee shop where they have cinnamon buns and coffee and stuff like that, you're gonna pay $4 to $6, maybe even more for it. This is a perfect coffee and something sweet treat. And if you don't want it for breakfast, it's also good for dessert. Those midnight snacks. It's really easy to make. I mean, you can mix it up in the time your oven's preheating, and then you just pour the glaze over it. So hang on to this one. It'll save you some money. The kids are going to love it. The grown-ups are going to love it with the coffee. And, you know, it's a really easy to take. I mean, you know, just a few minutes out of the oven and I can pick it up and take it to church. And you could even make it before church. Before we go, because it is almost Easter, I want to remind everyone of the words that Jesus left us with. The last thing he said before he ascended after his resurrection. Matthew 28:18 through 20. And Jesus came and spake unto them, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Go ye therefore, teaching all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the earth. Amen. Know that Jesus is with you always. And remember to share him. I know it's springtime and churches are really kind of starting their missions for the year and things. But remember, there are probably people within walking distance of your house that do not know Jesus. They do not know what he taught us, and they do not know that he is with us always. So share him always. And whenever you find yourself having difficulty, remember he is always with you. Thank you so much for joining us in the Hillbilly Kitchen. I hope you find someone you love to share some honey bun cake with. If you haven't already, please don't forget to click like and subscribe before you leave. And until next time, remember to put God first.